First, the headlines. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelaziz Bouteflika, has outlined priorities of the coming months to soothe social front by giving a new dosage to national economy. The President of the Republic has convened a ministerial meeting to pave the way for a peaceful social comeback and address every issue that might hinder the socio-economic development process here in Algeria. And in Tunisia, a Tunisian soldier has opened fire on comrades near parliament in the capital Tunis, killing several of them. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Zai News and welcome to this English news edition. First, in our top stories, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelaziz Bouteflika, has outlined the priorities of the coming months, trying to soothe the social front and giving a new dosage to the national economy, in addition to strengthening the country's administrative system. Khalifa.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelaziz Bouteflika, draws the traits and the priorities of the coming months, appeasing the social front and giving a new dose to the national economy, as well as strengthening the administrative system, starting with the government and the largest public institutions, and then reaching provinces and smaller districts. The harbingers of the President project manifested in the changes he made in the executive body and the ministerial reforms in mid-current month. The government of Abdelmalek Salal witnessed in its fourth edition a bigger presence to technocrats at the expense of party-affiliated ministers. The new government combination gave some traits of the president's priorities on the coming phase after a lot of chaos and controversy regarding many files, such as the case of shale gas as well as corruption cases, in addition to many protests in the sectors of education, health, and municipality agents. All these crises transformed the social front into a keg of gunpowder, threatening to explode at any time and shake the grounds of social peace and stability. The decision of the president to prioritize the economy at the expense of political fights was even clearer in the letter which he addressed to the Algerian students, where he plainly invited them to stay away from tight ideological and party infightings. The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelaziz Bouteflika, resolved the matter of priorities in the first ministerial meeting with the fourth government of Abdelmalek Salal, where he insisted that there was no room for ideological wars and there was also no difference between capital and share capital. The President has also stressed to the Algerian citizens to focus on the construction of the country and respect the sovereignty of law.
Khalifa trial, dubbed as the scandal of the century, continues at Blida Criminal Court with the hearings for more witnesses in the case. And for more details about the matter, we now join our special envoy Siham Saadu, who is present at the premises of the Blida Criminal Court. Siham, could you update us more about the latest developments in the ongoing Khalifa trial case?
Hearing Judge Mr. Antal Mnowar has interrogated today two witnesses, mainly Mohamed Laksasi, the former governor, the former Algiers bank governor, who pledged for the whole morning. He spent hours and hours explaining the financial crisis of Khalifa Bank, and he declared that the bank has a cautious control of pre-banking rules. In 2001, he created a committee of control. Bank experts sent straight away to Khalifa Bank, where they assessed the financial credit flow. 10 reports were established from March 1999 to May 2003. The former financial minister had received a detailed report also announcing tax failures in Khalifa Bank. While analyzing the financial situation, he discovered financial imbalance, management failure, and all the documents were like a violation of the trade law. In February 2003, the bank loan was estimated to 18.9 billion dinars, decreasing to 5 million dinars on March 2003. While doing the court hearing, Khalifa interrupted straight away Mohamed Laksasi, asking him a question. He told him, he went on asking him about the role of the commissioner's account, if they were efficient. because Mr. Laksasi said that the bank commissioner accounts were doing perfectly their job. So Khalifa said that if they were doing that to perfection, why there was then a financial crisis? The governor did not have any reply. Also, he declared that money transferred to Western banks has ruined the Khalifa Bank. The second witness this afternoon, Nadia, the judge has listened to Mohammed Khamouj, former general inspector in Algiers Bank, who confirmed exactly all the declarations of Momin Khalifa.
Thank you so much, Siham, for all these details. And several adverse factors have prompted the President of the Republic to convene a ministerial meeting to pave the way for a peaceful social comeback and address every issue that might hinder the socio-economic development process here in Algeria. Mustafa Azzouk.
25 billion dinars are allocated each year by the Algerian government towards improving scientific research in order to spur the national economic growth. The latter was the outstanding outcome of the last ministerial meeting chaired by the head of state, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, who stated on the occasion that Algeria has successfully established a strong platform that would boost the scientific research and the technological development in the country, and the results are promising and waiting to be fostered. During the ministerial meeting that was devoted to discussing issues related to upgrading the national educational level, the head of state, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, insisted that the government must undertake firm measures aimed at establishing reforms in the higher education sector and scientific research, which has witnessed several strikes that have paralyzed the sector for weeks. These adverse factors prompt the President of the Republic to convene a ministerial meeting to pave the way for a peaceful social comeback and address every issue that might hinder the socio-economic development process here in Algeria. The new academic year will witness a tremendous hike as 1.5 million students are bracing to join 39 universities across the national territory, whereas 75,000 new pedagogical seats were also allocated as part of the overhauling process. The latter will help create 4,000 new job opportunities. These huge numbers reflect the government's willingness to enhance the educational sector and avoid the strikes that have ravaged the sector throughout this year.
The President of the Republic, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, tasked the administrations concerned during a meeting of the Council of Ministers held Sunday to contain the abrupt rise in food prices during the holy month of Ramadan. This comes in line with the government's efforts to face up to the current socio-economic juncture. Hidden Smeras.
Less than a month before the coming of the holy month of Ramadan, the first Council of Ministers following the recent cabinet reshuffle was held Sunday under the chairmanship of President Bouteflika, who tasked the concerned administrations to contain the rise in food prices during the sacred month. The Council heard and debated two reports presented by Trade and National Solidarity Minister about the measures taken in anticipation of the next sacred month of Ramadan. In this regard, Trade Minister Ammar bin Yunus said that the necessary measures have been taken to guarantee the supply of the market with cereals, dairy products, as well as red and white meat, according to the Council's communique. Measures were adopted particularly to strengthen during the sacred month and sanitary control, the monitoring of prices, and fight against fraud. Concerning the public mechanism of national solidarity for the month of Ramadan, it will benefit about 1,700,000 people in the form of food kits, financial aids, and meals served during all the month of Ramadan, with the contribution of civil society's organizations, the Islamic Scout, and the Red Algerian Crescent. With these decisions, the Council of Ministers outlined a plan combining the minimizing cost policy and ensuring the social solidarity for the less fortunate during Ramadan.
The General Electric firm signed an agreement to build a major industrial complex unit in Algeria to produce gas and steam turbines in partnership with the national gas and electricity company Sonalgas at a cost of $400 million. Mohamed Baraswan.
The complex unit, which will start operating in the year 2017, will produce 6 to 8 generators and control systems per annum, with a total capacity of 2,000 megawatts. It will be one of the biggest plants of General Electric in the world. This is also evidence that foreign investment is steadily returning to Algeria. A joint venture called General Electric Algeria Turbines will be set up to build and operate the complex unit in the eastern province of Batna. It will be one of the biggest plants of General Electric Company in the world. Sonatgaz will hold a 51% stake, while General Electric Industrial France, a subsidiary of General Electric Giant Company, will hold the remaining 49%. General Electric has invested in the past in Algeria, winning a $2 billion deal with Sonatgaz to supply turbines just last year. But other investors, especially in the non-energy sector, remain more wary, concerned about some restrictions and lingering red tape. Algerian law limits to 49% the stake a foreign firm can hold in any investment in the country in the various fields of endeavor.
In neighboring Tunisia, a Tunisian soldier has opened fire on comrades near parliament in the capital Tunis, killing some of them before being shot dead in what the country's interior ministry insists is not a terrorist act. Mustafa Azzouk.
A spokesman for Tunisia's defense ministry said that a Tunisian soldier opened fire on fellow troops at military barracks in the capital Tunis on Monday, killing 7 people before he was himself killed. Spokesperson Bilhassan Wasselti said 10 others were injured in the shooting, including one person who is in a serious health condition. He described the violent incident as an isolated act, not a terrorist act, and said the motive behind the killings will be determined by an investigation. Police reinforcements were sent to the area after the shooting came in nearby streets while helicopters circled overhead. The defense ministry said a nearby school was also evacuated. Authorities sought to calm the public in a city where tensions remain high after an attack on the National Bardo Museum on March 18th that killed 22 people, mostly foreign tourists. The shooting at the Bouchawa military barracks is situated about 1 kilometer from the targeted museum. Authorities sought to calm the public in a city where tensions remain high after an attack on the National Bardo Museum on March 18th that killed 22 people, mostly foreign tourists. The shooting at the Bouchawa military barracks is situated about 1 kilometer from the targeted museum. Tunis has been on high alert since the March massacre at the National Bardo Museum, which dealt a heavy blow to the vital tourism industry. The North African nation has seen an upsurge since the Arab Spring revolt, which toppled veteran strongman Zine Abidine Ben Ali in 2011.
In Spain, Sunday's regional elections resulted in its 2 main political parties, the People's Party and the Socialists, losing their grip on Spanish politics. New parties have emerged, meaning Spain's traditional powerhouses will have to play a compromise politics and form coalition for the first time since General Franco's dictatorship 40 years ago. Meher Mzdari.
Spain's ruling People's Party took a battering in regional and local elections on Sunday after voters punished Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy for 4 years of severe spending cuts and a string of corruption scandals. The People's Party suffered its worst result in 20 years as new parties rose to fragment the vote. The People's Party and their main rivals, the Socialists, have alternated in power since the end of General Franco's dictatorship 40 years ago. But for the first time in Spanish history, new parties are coming to the fore. Market-friendly Ciudadanos and anti-austerity Podemos were the big winners of the regional elections. Though the PP won more votes than any other party, it and the Socialists fell short of overall majorities in most areas. The two parties will have to negotiate coalitions with minority parties in 13 of Spain's 17 regions. Spain has virtually no tradition of compromise politics, and the fragmented vote is likely to result in weeks of pact building in the regions which hold substantial power and determine spending in key areas like education and health.
In troubled Burundi, police forces killed 1 protester during anti-Nkurunziza demonstrations, and 2 others were wounded as police opened fire on a group of around 100 protesters in Muyangi Burari province. Maher Mzahi.
A demonstrator has been shot dead and 2 others wounded when police opened fire on a group of around 100 protesters in southern Burundi, a local official and witness said. Monday's violence in Moyenge in Bururi province, around 60 kilometers southeast of the capital, is one of the first confirmed reports of civil unrest erupting outside the capital, Bujumbura, since protests against President Nkurunziza's decision to stand for a third term erupted last month. Civil unrest was also reported in Matana, further south in the same province. Protests against Nkurunziza's controversial bid to stand for the presidency again have been taking place in the small Central African nation since late April, but the violence, which has left at least 30 dead, has largely been confined to the capital. Nkurunziza has insisted that the unrest has also affected 4 districts for the capital, and that there is peace and security in 99.9% of the country. Some small minor protests had been reported in rural areas of the nation in recent weeks, but far smaller and more sporadic in nature than in the capital. Around 110,000 Burundians, however, have fled the country in fear of an outbreak of widespread unrest, including 70,000 to neighboring Tanzania. Opposition and rights groups say that Nkurunziza's bid for a third 5-year term violates the constitution, as well as the terms of a peace deal that ended a 13-year civil war in 2006.
That was actually Karim Fazakri reporting. And in latest economic news, oil prices fell again near 5-year lows. Brent crude oil fell more than $2 a barrel on Monday. It comes following predictions that an oversupply would keep building. Usama Snusi.
Oil prices fell for a 5th day on Monday, and Goldman Sachs analysts believe they're going to drop much further. Although oil prices are trading at their highest level since December, driven by the quick reaction by the United States producers, as well as a large demand response, according to analyst Damien Covelling. The global market imbalances are not solved, and the rally will prove self-defeating.
$65 on a lot of these wells, the money is right. So CapEx will start building again. You'll see some of the tarps come off of these rigs. More production will come online at some point, and you will see perhaps what we might call a double dip recession in oil, where we saw, a dip to $40 and a secondary dip into the 45 range. And now, when we're hovering closer to 65, give it a couple of weeks or a month or two, and some of these production numbers will start to creep back upwards, and maybe that will be the next slide that we'll see.
He notes that the U.S. producer response remains short of the slowdown required. Low-cost producers like Saudi Arabia and Iraq are not tracked to grow production sharply, and access to equity and debt capital markets is back to being open. Goldman analysts forecast prices will retrace to their lows of $45 a barrel by October.
And finally, to wrap it up, Algerian international footballers have excelled in their respective European leagues. Rafiq Jabour, Mehdi Lahsan, Sofiane Fouhouli and Karl Medjani all scored for their clubs before they returned to Algeria for next month's qualification against the Seychelles. Meher Mizahi.
Algerians around Europe found the score sheet this week as many played the last match in their respective championship. Rafiq Jabour finished a double winner with his new side Apoel FC, as they collected the Cyprus League Championship and the Cup. Jabour sealed his side's triumph this week with 2 goals against AEK Larnaca. In Spain, Mehdi Lassin was on target as Getafe lost to Real Madrid 7-3. Lassin pounced on a loose ball and struck it past Iker Casillas. This season, Lassin became the most capped African player to play in La Liga, as he amassed more than 200 appearances in the Spanish top flight. Sofiane Fouhouli is the most experienced Valencia player, with more than 150 appearances for Los Che. On Saturday, Fouhouli helped Valencia back into the Champions League with a goal and an assist against Almeria. Karl Medjani has played incredibly well in his first season for Trabzonspor. The Algerian defender made 41 appearances for the Turkish club and has scored an astounding 8 goals from midfield, including 1 against Balıkesirspor on Sunday. Medjani, Lassin, and Fouhouli will join Algerian footballers across Europe in stopping in Algeria for the national team's qualification match against Seychelles on June the 13th.
The end of our English News edition. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.